The actual execution process can be tightened and loosened, allowing the prisoner to breathe occasionally. The structure of this torture device is simple, easy to operate, and has a good force effect, making it one of the most commonly used torture devices in the Middle Ages. The fifth torture device, this cruel torture device, has a scary name. The prisoner's head will be fixed under the torture device, and as long as the upper guard is turned, the lever device will press the metal cover of the skull down. In fact, before the invention of mechanical devices, the Bosnians had trained elephants to trample on the criminals' skulls. And the torture device invented in the Middle Ages was invented in Lodan. The head of the prisoner will be slowly pressed. The pain and torture felt is much stronger than the head of an elephant. The prisoner can even choose to let the skull deform instead of shattering. It's really heartless. If you test it with a fingernail, you can find that the first thing you get is a compression of the teeth. As the pressure increases, the first part that shatters is the skull. The pain at this time is absolutely incomparable. If you continue to apply pressure, the skull will break. But at this time, the prisoner is already dead. There is no feeling. Although the head shattering is extremely brutal, it's a little bit creepy, but it was widely used in the Middle Ages. Let's review the 6 brutal torture methods invented in the Middle Ages. The fourth is the torture of the tortoise. The tortoise is a small, charming, and annoying torture. The later generations have a double standard for its evaluation. Usually there are 3 types of prisoners who will be sentenced to torture. The first is to read God's criticism of the preachers. The torture will be stuffed into the prisoner's mouth. When the executioner turns his hand, the torture will slow down, thereby forcing the prisoner to open his mouth and produce a huge pain. At this time, the prisoner can still scream. As long as you agree to confess, you can be exempted from punishment. Otherwise, you have to suffer the pain of your mouth. The torture will be stuffed into the prisoner's mouth. When the executioner turns his hand, the torture will slow down, thereby forcing the prisoner to open his mouth and produce a huge pain. The second type of criminal is a male child. It's not convenient for the criminal to be here, but we can just guess. And the third type of criminal is a female who has bad behavior. As for the criminal, we can just guess. Although this tool is all-powerful, many people suspect it may have never been used. The reason for suspicion is its killing power. If you use a glass cup as a criminal's mouth, test results show that the tiger's mane does not split the glass cup, but instead breaks it due to the small size of the chain. So it can only open the prisoner's mouth at most, unable to cause greater damage. In fact, the tiger's mane's technology is not useless. The expansion tool in modern medicine is similar to it. It can help the doctor save people, not harm people. Third place, Zhongbaifu. Zhongbaifu is hanging a large blade on the rope, moving back and forth around the point at the top. The prisoner who is fixed at the bottom can only watch the blade slowly descend and then cut his own body with a knife. What are you talking about? Tell McClellan dodging outside, I reckon will tell you. Don't like for you in terms of gonna have fun. It took me with Jim. She went with you. You had or leave councilman on development. You know, asleep. Tonight's the discussion. Have you moved on to someone else? Hey, I was worrying that if you had to come up with anything new, you can see that the 26-kilogram blade has just moved a few times. How many for true, right? By don't food. Watch it. Hey, I don't see what you wish I just don't feel. Can fix it. I don't know why. I know. So you put some right. I thought she should show you, subject. And how so? Sure, I just realized that I'm sort of a tone. You got a job. You got a job. And I don't think you should give me the job. Who said you got the job? Watch you. I don't need it. From you. So you're gonna have to... Come on, she'll put it. Come to the meeting. So you see, it's a little less... How can you do that? Come on, she's gonna have to come to the house. You have to get it. I don't know, you said you were gonna come to the house. You're gonna have to come to the house. Shinya, shinyu, shinya. The main purpose of this system was to intimidate and to humiliate. Since this device was very easy to build and use, in most of the towns and cities of the Middle Ages, the relied upon victims were constantly surrounded by the ghosts of prisoners. The humiliation and fear of falling into the water was very threatening to the women of those times.